I'm not happy with that That's the problem.
Call to order the regular town board meeting for the town of Shandaken, October 2018. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Roll call, please.
Board Member Alba? Here. Board Member DeScalani?
Here.
Board Member Storrs? Here. Board Member Van Larkin?
Here.
Board Supervisor Stanley?
That'd be supervisor.
That's Supervisor.
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 Here. I'll take a motion to approve the previous town board meeting minutes.
Make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Supervisor financial report, September 2018. Zoning fees, $75. Medical insurance reimbursement, $150.66. Lease fees, $45. Ambulance fees, $8,221.25. Town clerk fees, Easy Pass conservation, $459.86. Cell tower, $973.64. Justice fees, $15,208. Building permit fees, $3,172. Dog licenses, $49.50. Central mail contractuals, $66.70. Planning fees, $200. Phoenicia water miscellaneous revenue, $3,332.54. Ulster County sales tax, $36,869.58. Gas, diesel, fuel oil revenue, $2,081.47. Registrar fees, $230. And highway revenue of $11,254.88 for a total of $82,390.08. Please turn off all your cell phones and electronic devices before we start meeting each other. Communications, month of October 2018. 2019 tentative budget. I've released the tentative budget, which we will vote on tonight to accept as the preliminary budget for 2019. Sadly, we will again have to exceed the state imposed tax cap, mostly due to increases in employee salaries and healthcare and retirement projections. In regards to the general budget, as I've said, most of the increases come from increases in salaries reflecting increases in the minimum wage, which of January 1 goes up another 70 cents per hour to $11.10. Minimum wage is due to increase at this increment until each year until 2020, or when the entire state meets the $15 minimum wage. In consideration of this, and out of respect for those who have put in the time and worked up to their current rates, I'm raising all employees who are under $15 per hour the full 70 cents, while other employees raise approximately 40 to 50 cents per hour. I've increased a few elected officials, roughly 2%, being supervisor, town clerk, and assessor chair, but minimally $750 to $1,000. By far the largest increase in salaries is in the ambulance department. This is our largest group of employees, and we have had difficulty in attracting more professionals to help us due to the relatively low rate pay that they will receive versus other local departments. We have also had some turnover and the loss of 2 of our full-time employees this year. This leads us to pay more overtime and continuing full-time employees, as we have a limited number of part-timers. In conversations with the chief and deputy chief, we do see a need to hire at least 1 more full-time medic, which could help alleviate much of the overtime in that field, but we will still need to find some more part-time employees to fill in for times of vacation, sick, and personal days. Our drivers would only receive the new minimum wage of $11.10 per hour, with EMTBs starting at $12.10 per hour, and EMTPs or paramedics starting at $17.80 per hour. Additionally, the ambulance is in need of new heart monitor equipment that comes with a cost of near $60,000. The chief and deputy chief will procure this over a lease agreement to amortize this cost over the next 5 years to help reduce the burden. Morton Library has requested a roughly $20,000 increase for next year, which is subject to a public referendum. In anticipation of its passing, I'm adding that to the budget now. The Town Museum has on several occasions this year made a request to increase their funding and add another day for the director. The budget reflects that increase of $6,000. Other increases come from retirement and healthcare, as they are projected to rise a near 10% increase in retirement, a $15,000 increase, and near 5% in healthcare, which amounts to a $10,000 increase. The general tax increase for 2018 is projected at 6.48%. On the highway budget, again, we await FEMA monies for repairs that have already taken place. We have received quite a bit of the funds, but FEMA was again slow in processing pay requests due to other disasters. These are larger bills to be reimbursed, and as a precautionary move, we are again reducing the use of the fund balance by $25,000, which then falls directly to the taxes. Additionally, our aging fleet of vehicles needs to be replaced over time. So Eric and I agreed on moving some funds to increase the installment debt and interest in anticipation of purchasing at least 1 new highway truck next year. Retirement and healthcare are similarly increasing, adding roughly $25,000. The highway has plenty of money to run through the year and plenty at this time, and plenty in place. At this time, the highway budget is showing a tax increase of 3.45%. Phoenicia Water District, where bills have been relatively flat since last year, we are not increasing the rate on usage, but the tax levy will increase due to personnel-related costs with an increase of $2,100 or 3.82%. Budget Pine Hill Water District will remain the same at this time while Don Clark continues to review his budget needs. Fire districts are each requesting an increase, 2.27% for Phoenicia, 2.63% for Big Indian Olivria, and 2% for Pine Hill High Mountain. Lighting districts will remain unchanged. All said and done, spending is going up 3.5% with a combined overall tax increase of 4.73%. We will hold a special meeting on Monday, October 15th at 1 p.m. to adopt the law allowing us to exceed the tax cap. We will also be holding our annual budget public hearing just prior to our next board meeting scheduled for 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 8th, 2018, the evening after election. Broadband. We held a public hearing earlier, and barring any unaddressed items, we have a resolution to authorize a franchise agreement with MTC Cable to provide this broadband and cable service for areas in western Shandaken. They currently have availability to provide this service to areas in Upper and Lower Birch Street, Pine Hill, and Rose Mountain Road, and around to Route 42 near the town cell tower site. At this time, they cannot expand beyond that area. They hope that in the future they may be able to explore going further east, but not currently. Assessor. Tonight we have a resolution regarding a settlement of an assessment challenge. Catskill Development Holdings LLC had filed against the town regarding their latest assessment. We feel that the settlement being provided is a good compromise between the two parties. The settlement is a relatively small reduction in what was being sought. While it saves the town a sizable bill to move forward to litigation, it also provides the town relief in that the claimant is not seeking any refund for the previous year's challenge. I'd like to thank Mr. DeMonica and Grace Grant in the Assessor's Office for working with their attorneys to come to this agreement. We also have to correct a law we adopted earlier this year regarding the veterans exemption. The state requires that if you raise the minimum basic exemption, then the disabled veteran exemption limit must be exactly as they have on the chart. So we will need to raise that exemption from $35,000 to $50,000. We will address that also at the October 15th special meeting to correct this deficiency. And miscellaneous, the Highway Department is purchasing a sweeper to replace the one damaged in a shared service agreement. We also have our annual resolutions to approve the public assembly permit for the turkey trot and setting the Halloween curfew. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Joyce?
Okay, so we have so many events for October. All of them are listed on Channel 23 because Ellen does it on her spare time. We also have it listed on our website and Facebook page, but the one that I really think people should take notice of is the annual tag sale to benefit our shelter dogs, which is this Saturday, October 6th, 10 to 5 at Margareteville's Farm Stand in Mount Tremper. And if you'd like to donate items, please no clothing, no electronics, and no exercise equipment. Call Nancy Hudler at 845-663-4047, and the rain date's going to be Sunday. So if you can make that or donate something, that'd be great. That's it.
That was Saturday, what time again?
Saturday, October 6th, 5.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, so on October 7th is the annual Pine Hill Block Party. It's going to be the third. Beer garden, music, vendors. It's going to be awesome. We're still looking for vendors. It's a free spot. If anybody wants to come out, just contact Town Hall. And, yeah, 12 to 5. It's going to be awesome.
And to benefit.
Oh, yeah. It's going to benefit the skate park that we're planning on putting in Pine Hill.
Any other communications? Go to committee reports. Chief Bill.
Good evening, everybody. September 2018 report for Town of Shandaken Ambulance. We received 26 calls, gave mutual aid to three different occasions. As we enter the fall season in the mountains, I would like to remind everyone to be careful of the leaves that could potentially be falling off the trees, along with the tourists that come up to see the wonderful colors of the Catskill Mountains. Just be careful on the roads, be cautious. And for those that will be taking their young ones or have kids going out to do some trick-or-treating later this month, please be sure you check their candy for anything that could cause injury and harm to the kids. Biggest things to check for are damaged wrappers or lack thereof wrapper, along with sharp objects that can be put into the candy. Also, as you're walking on the roads, please make sure that you carry a flashlight and have some type of reflective stripe in your clothing to warn the motorists that are on the roads. And Supervisor Stanley alluded to earlier, we are looking to bolster our staff to help relieve some of the overtime costs that we've come up with. Unfortunately, this past summer I was out on disability, so I wasn't able to do anything for 3 months. And the EKG monitor, we are working. I'm still waiting on final numbers, but the current monitors that we have, we just got serviced last Wednesday. The dead date for those is next October, where they will no longer be able to be serviced, maintained, parts, or anything available for them.
How old are they? 10 years?
Some are going on 15. I think we have 2 that are going on 15, 2 that we got procured from another agency that were 10 years old when we got them, and that was probably 5 years ago. So, I mean, they're showing their age. You know, the new series of monitors have been out for at least 10 years now, so it's trying to upgrade, but unfortunately the cost of new monitors is anywhere between $30,000 and $40,000 a piece. So we're looking at release options. Like I said, I'm still waiting on the final numbers to come back. Trying to work different ideas to try to get it to work, so it's not a big chunk all the beginning of it.
Have you approached the Rotary or PVA or any of those associations
Not yet.
in town?
I'm still trying to.
Because I know the PVA was interested in some donation for it.
I'm trying to get final numbers before I approach any organization, because there's another option of maybe getting a refurbished model. It's the same model that we're looking at, but it may potentially be a lot less, so the burden may not be as much, or we may be able to add on to it to replace maybe 3 instead of 2. But once I get those final numbers, we'll start approaching the PVA, the Rotary.
What about the hospitals? Do they ever do anything like that? Nothing?
And unfortunately for us to get a grant, the only grant that we can get is an assistance firefighter grant, and they usually take precedence with volunteer fire departments. municipalities and municipal ambulances and that tend to be at the bottom of that list. Still trying to look into some grant funding, but there's not many out there for replacing EMS equipment. I'm working on it. Hopefully within the next month, I'll have final numbers. We can move forward.
And do you think you could like space it out on then another?
That's another option that we're looking into. Possibly getting one, start that one off. Maybe the next year getting the second one. Maybe adding a year on to the lease payments. So instead of a big chunk in the beginning, slowly start phasing them in over the next 5 years. But again, I'm still waiting to hear back from the manufacturers and the sales reps to get those final numbers. I'm going to be going up to a conference in a couple weeks, so hopefully I can sit down and nail down their feet so they can actually talk to me.
Yeah.
Give me straightforward answers.
Hey, the building zoning planning report for September. We got 31 calls for building questions, building and zoning questions. I've been putting all the floodplain questions to Rob since he's the program manager. We issued 16 building permits, 3 demolition permits. I did 25 building inspections. Issued 5 certificates of occupancy, 15 certificates of compliance, and 3 requests for research. Income for the month was $6,021, largely due to the Shandaken Inn building renovation addition. They just started.
They did.
Last week, actually. Yeah.
Do you see a large increase in building requests going on over the course of the summer?
Well, there's a lot of requests for small items. People are doing decks and roofs and remodeling kitchens. Not a lot of big, startup houses happening.
Right. Improvements.
I'm sorry.
A lot of improvements going on.
A lot of improvements, yeah. So it's good.
Thank you. Please.
184 calls for service and 14 arrests. More importantly, I just want to say thank you to everybody that helped out for the coordination and planning of past Chief Joe Strauss's funeral. Thanks, Chuck, for all your help, and the other 5 chiefs as well.
And just so you know, PBA, because it clicked for me after a minute, PBA that Faye was speaking about, PBA was not police, association.
Oh, no.
It took a minute, I was like, why the police department?
No.
I knew what you meant.
Phoenicia Water.
Hello, everybody. Rick is moderately happy since the consumption. He hasn't attacked you yet on the street debris, but he will. We're average 66,000 gallons a day, even including the holidays, so that's really pretty good. And everything's working. Next meeting is on the 17th. Sorry. Thanks.
And I don't know if you were
What's
aware.
this, any update on the grant?
No. For those questioning the revenues, we did get a balance paid out for the bill that we addressed earlier this year to one of the customers, which was nice. Good paid off.
Right, yeah, one of the big, thanks, Rob.
Pioneer Water, report, museum.
Well, first of all, we would like to thank you for, the small amount of increase, but we're asking a reconsideration to look at that numbers again, simply because our visitorship, for lack of a better word, has grown significantly, and we also still don't have a plan for repairs in the building. So, operating budget, increased from 3,000 to, 5,000, 3,500 to 5,000. It really limits us. I think we need a little bit better funding considering the effort that's going in. It's your museum, your town, and I think it needs to be saved. That's it. So we would like a reconsideration of that budget for another increase. Thank you.
Recreation, I haven't seen Marty, and I don't think there's much going on with recreation. We'll leave this one for. Public comments and resolutions. No motions, so we can go right to resolutions.
Resolution 11718, whereas the Department of Audit and Control require town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming into the town for payment to number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. In general, $87,413.05. From highway, $48,534.49. Phoenicia Water, $10,339.39. Pine Hill Water, $488.38. Phoenicia Lights, $1,000.94. Chichester Lights, $152.73. Pine Hill Lights, $566.88 for a total of $148,495.86. And I move its adoption.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Storrs?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Downs?
Resolution 11818, resolution to authorize entering franchise agreement with Margaretville Telephone Company. Whereas the town of Shandaken, with its principal offices located at 7209 New York State Route 28, Shandaken, New York, 12480, wishes to enter into a franchise agreement with Heart of the Catskills Communications, Inc., DBA MTC Cable, MTC, a corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of New York, with its principal offices located at 50 Swart Street, Margaretville, New York, 12455. And whereas pursuant to the town law, the board has the exclusive power on behalf of the town to grant franchises providing for or involving the use of the streets and give the consent of the town to any franchisee for or relating to the occupation or use of the streets. And whereas pursuant to the Communications Act of 1934, as amended, the board has the authority to grant cable television franchises and renewals thereof on behalf of the town. And whereas the town has conducted negotiations with MTC and has conducted a public hearing held on Monday, October 1st, 2018, regarding MTC's franchise proposal, affording all interested parties due process, including notice and the opportunity to be heard. And whereas the board has determined that MTC's plans for constructing and operating a franchise are adequate, feasible, and beneficial for the community at large, and therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Shandaken does agree that the grant of the cable franchise to be an unlisted action and a negative declaration is hereby made, determining that the proposed action will not have any significant effects on the environment. And be it further resolved, the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to enter an aforementioned franchise agreement with MTC Cable, and the board is granting this franchise. As embodied in the agreement, has determined that the MTC Cable will fulfill the needs of the town with respect to cable television service in compliance with the standards and requirements of the New York State Public Service Commission, and move its adoption.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Storrs?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Downs?
Yes. Resolution 119-18. Resolution adopting tentative budget as preliminary budget. Whereas the town of Shandaken has prepared a 2019 tentative budget for review, therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Shandaken hereby adopts the 2019 tentative budget as the 2019 preliminary budget for the town of Shandaken and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Storrs?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Downs?
Yes.
Oh, you had to.
Resolution 120-18, resolution to authorize settlement agreement with Catskill Development Holdings LLC. Whereas tax, what is that word? Certiorari proceedings have been filed against the town of Shandaken by Catskill Development Holdings LLC and Port Shandaken Associates LLC in regard to the assessment on a pond property located in the town of Shandaken and designated as tax grid numbers 25.10-1-5, comma, 25.10-2-16, and 25.1-1-17. And whereas it is desired to settle the 2017 and 2018 proceedings, therefore, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Shandaken does hereby authorize Kyle W. Barnett Esquire of the law firm of Van de Water and Van de Water LLP, 85 Civic Center Plaza, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12601, to negotiate a settlement whereby the 2017 and 2018 assessments will be settled in accordance with attached proposed consent judgment and summarized as follows. Parcel 25.10-1-5, row year. Can I just read 2018 together because they're the exact same numbers? 2018, 2017 equalized value 392,157, equalization rate 25.50%, assessed value 100,000, reduced AV 88,284, reduction $11,717. Parcel 25.10-2-16, roll years 2017 and 18, equalized value 8,800,000, equalization rate 25.5%, 50%, assessed value $2,244, million, reduced, there's no dots there, reduced AV 1,000, $1,981.82. Reduction $262,918. Parcel 25.1-1-17, roll year 2017-2018, equalized value $1,568,627, equalization rate 25.50%, 50%, assessed value $400,000, reduced AV $353,134, reduction $46,000.